I got to have a conversation with Arnaldo Baptista, founding member of Os Mutantes and one of the leading figures in the Tropicalia movement. He also paints, and I've included some links to some of his artworks in the description of this video. Now, I particularly wanted to talk to him about this song, Balada de Louco. It's apparently, from what I understand, very well known in Brazil, but growing up in the United States, I didn't know this song until some people pointed it out to me about a year ago. And since I heard it, I just immediately fell in love with it. It's a gorgeous song. I think that if it wasn't for a language barrier, it's in Portuguese, by the way, that it probably would be just as well known here in the United States. Anyhow, here's how our conversation started.
I would like to know if you're relative to James Brown.
Not that I know of. Arnaldo Baptista, founding member of Os Mutantes and performer, singer, musician, painter, icon. Can we say that?
Yeah, sure. I am a writer too.
A writer as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you forgot.
Are these your paintings behind you, by the way?
Yes, behind me there are some paintings, but I'm not showing in the video now.
Now, as I mentioned, this song is in Portuguese, the most commonly spoken language in Brazil. I do not speak Portuguese, so I'm kind of going off of translations here. But my understanding of the meaning of the song boils down to this. You may think that I'm crazy, but what's really crazy is being unhappy and conforming so much to what other people want you to do that you're not able to live your own life. I wanted to mostly ask some questions about Balada do Louco. It's just such a beautiful song. I really, I'm sad to say I didn't know it until maybe about a year ago. And I feel like I missed out on a big part of my music education. Um, and I think one of the things that I love about it is all of the contrasts. In one sense, there's some really insightful messages, but it's also kind of silly, right? And it has these newer electronic sounds and, this also sitar sound and
Yeah.
just such a beautiful song. Can you tell me how did the song start? How did, the idea for the song come up?
Yeah, it's the following. I was playing karate, Japanese fight, and there was a girl in front of me. I was fighting with her. Suddenly, I slipped, and my finger bled. And now didn't talk. Everybody is equal. No? So I start thinking they're handsome. I'm alone.
Now, I need to mention that the band that performed this, Os Mutantes, was part of a genre called Tropicalia. It's a movement from Brazil that was associated with psychedelia and the avant-garde to some extent. And depending on where you live in the world, that might not seem like such a big deal. But what you need to keep in mind is that at the time, Brazil was ruled by a military dictatorship. Several artists associated with this genre were arrested or even forced to live in exile. And amongst them were Caetano Veloso, Gilberto Gil. These are two artists that were very closely associated with Os Mutantes. And I asked Arnaldo to tell me a little bit about how his band avoided some of that same fate. And here's what he said. Some of the people that you performed with were facing, arrest and exile, like Gilberto Gil and Caetano Veloso.
Yeah.
What was going through your head as a musician? I mean, did you think that it was a matter of time before that happened to you as well?
There was something magic about it because my father was working with the governor, Ademar de Barros. So somehow we were rid of all the police. And so we were away from the thing that arrested Caetano and Chius because of my father. I don't know, but somehow it happened.
So you think because of your father, you and the band were kind of protected?
Yes, sure.
Did you know that at the time, or were you? I mean, I don't know if it were me. I think I would have been pretty, pretty afraid to do all of these things.
Yeah, but at my house, my my father had a car of the government, white plates. So it was like so I was feeling very like the government at that time.
Now, I asked Arnaldo's manager to clarify some points here because I felt that maybe some of the information got lost in translation. What they told me is that Arnaldo's father, Cesar Dias Batista, was an aide to the governor of Sao Paulo, and that's why he had this government white license plate. And I have to point out that Arnaldo asked me to stress this point, that at no time did they ever ask his father to offer the band his official protection in any capacity, but rather they think that maybe the military just kept some distance because of their close ties to the official government of Sao Paulo. I want to take a short break to tell you about the sponsor of today's video. It's an app called Skoove. If you've ever wanted to learn how to play piano yourself, this is the app that can get you started. In addition to many courses that it has an extensive library of songs and pieces of music that you can learn, from classical to Bollywood to K-pop. You can even learn lots of film music, like Danny Elfman's Nightmare Before Christmas or Hans Zimmer's Interstellar theme. Now here's what I love about this app. I tried experimenting a little bit and I played along with a Billy Joel song and some others. And what I found was you have these notes that light up as you play them, but it'll only work if you're playing the correct notes. And it'll show you where those notes are. It'll even have little graphics of hands playing along with you as you go. You can isolate just right hand or just left hand. You can control the speed of how fast it goes. And then when it's all done, you're able to play along with the app, playing in real time, making sure that all those notes are correct. I've dropped the link for that in the description to this video. I hope if piano is something that you're interested in learning, that you'll go ahead and check it out and give it a shot. Okay, now back to Balada de Louco. I want to show you one of the reasons that I love this song so much. In Western music, there are 4 types of triads. These are the basic 3-note chords that are the building blocks of harmony. You probably have heard the names of 2 of them a lot, major and minor. In fact, you might have even heard of fancier chords with extensions like a flat 9 chord or a minor 7th chord, but those are all built off of that basic major and minor triad. The other 2 triads get used far less frequently, especially outside of classical music. They're called diminished and augmented, and they're far less stable than the major and minor chords, and they're a lot more harmonically ambiguous. In other words, if I play a major chord or a minor chord, your ears will usually give you a sense pretty quickly about where those chords fit into the song, where the gravitational pull is of that song. And with an augmented or diminished chord, it's much harder to do that. Now, just to show you what I'm talking about, this is a fully diminished 7 chord. It sounds like this. Okay, now if I play that chord, it's really hard to know what is going to happen next because this can resolve in so many ways. It could resolve like this, or it could resolve like this, or it could resolve like this. Not only does this chord get used far less often than its major and minor cousins, it almost never starts a piece. Because if you start a piece with this chord, there's really no clue, there's no way to know what key you're in. It's almost, sorry for the pun, it's almost what some people might call crazy or loco, like the song. And that's exactly what this song does. It starts with this diminished 7th chord. And even more, this chord appears in almost every other measure of the song. If you listen to just the harmony for a little bit, you'll hear something like this. And then here's the diminished chord, resolving. And then in the next section, it goes right back to the diminished chord. And we see this pattern continue almost for the entire song. So I was really curious to know how Baptista came up with the progression for this song. And here's what he told me.
Well, I wasn't with Mutantes at that time, and after I wrote it, I went to a relative of Italy, and I started playing piano. And suddenly, I was inspired, and the music flew, the words and everything, the chords. So I let it be as it was, Balada do Louco.
It just came out.
Yes, certainly. I wrote it, but I didn't know for heart. Suddenly it happened in my fingers. These things that happen sometimes.
That's beautiful. Does that happen usually when you're writing, or was this just a special?
No, sometimes I have an inspiration about what I will write. Sometimes no, but it goes flowing.
What do you want people to think about when they hear this song today?
I want to understand it's better to be not being normal.
In the song, it's saying, it's better to be happy, even if people think you're
Yeah.
crazy, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
If I'm crazy, they're crazy too.
Thank you so much for writing this song. It's really
Uh,
beautiful.
Thank you for liking the song. You loved it.
I love it very much. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
making it, and thank you for taking some time to talk with me.
Wow.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. If you really want to support the work I do, I would love to invite you to join my Patreon page, where I add some extra footage that I don't have time to include in some of these videos. I also will sometimes include previews and sneak peeks of things that are about to come up. If you're interested in any of that, I've left the link for you to consider in the description, and I've also considered that discount link for Skoove, as well as some of the artworks and other links associated with Arnaldo Baptista. Thanks so much for watching.